When it comes to all training is done in Cape Town. Now there are extra charges to that because accommodation I got way back 2013 or 14 to be precise. I stayed at those self-catering apartments. I'll be linking down a few accommodations that is nearby and around to where I stayed. I don't actually specifically remember where I stayed, but it was quite reasonable for those couple of weeks that I did stay there. And it is self-catering, and I know it's got about 2 bunk beds and an extra room. So there's about 3 or 4 of you sharing, and it is legit amazing. There is transport to and fro from your place of stay to the training back, and of course at the end of your training takes you all the way back to Cape Town International Airport. Which positions are at the Cape Town training? As far as I know, the only ones that are not there is fitness as well as nail techs. As far as I'm concerned, I think they do their training in London, but for all beauty treatment, your facials and your body electric positions are done in Cape Town. A total of weeks that one is there, it depends on what extra or extended treatments or knowledge that you might do, but I know it takes close to about 1 to 12 weeks. It really does depend on what you also there for, but a minimum of 2 weeks is there if you're just going to do the regular basic trainings, whether it's just facial or body treatments. It's usually around 2 weeks. Another thing I want to point out, the real truth about packing is legit the truth. Now, you will never know exactly when you might head out, so do try and pack everything needed. So make sure you've got all your documents in handy, your police clearance, your certificates, your medical treatments, your STCWs. If you haven't done that already, we're going to be talking about that as well. Anything and everything that needs to be taken, take that with you. Pack one big suitcase full of anything and everything, a mix of both, because you might not know, especially if you are in training, you might not know which ship you might go to. Yes, indeed, pack as if you might just leave on that day in training. A few other things that I want to mention for this intro part. Joining fee is absolutely free. No recruiter should be either charging you for anything. The interviews itself are also free, so make sure that there is no charging at all for that. Okay, the only thing that they will be providing or charging for you if you are in London, probably uniform, the white uniforms that you usually see for the Steiner Academy in London. So that could be also a fee as well. And then your uniform fees for when you join your ship, that could be part of it as well. But back in those days, they used to have some extra uniforms. So that's something to also look out at, but I'm not really sure as far as uniforms, but that's as far as anything else. Anything else regarding recruitment should not be a charge. So just a summary of how much things will cost. As far as medicals are around 6,000 plus minus. This is all in rands. This is for South Africa specifically. So in rands, 5,000 to 6,000 plus minus. You got your visas, which also falls around probably 2,000 or so. Your police clearance at any police station nationwide should be around 50 Rand to 100 Rand. That's also to get your visas as well. Make sure you've got your passport. Check the validation for that, the expiring date for your passport. Get that updated. Make sure that you can still do 2-3 contracts with it before it expires as well. I said earlier on, as far as accommodations in Cape Town, it tends to be about 2,000 plus minus. But like I said, I'll be listing down all of those again on the description box or somewhere along here, just to give you an indication of how things might cost. Flights from wherever you are, from Joburg to Cape Town, as far as I know, round ticket was about also around 2,000 Rand with Mango. They got some great deals as well, so check that out as well for the 2 weeks that you are at training. So have a view of that as well, and just keep that in mind as well. Just to give you an indication of exactly what happens in training, just know that you are basically being interviewed for a job. This is no college anymore, so you should have had the basics of the skills that you are qualified and experienced in. So facials, be able to know your effleurage techniques, or your little tapetum movements for the face. Make sure you know all your muscles as well, because once you go into that, it's pretty much basic product knowledge and application of the treatments that are provided on board. So you'll get trained in LMS. LMS is one of my favorite products. I just ordered a cleansing balm again, just waiting for that to arrive, but I won't lie, the training itself is quite extensive. You know, if you haven't worked before and if you haven't done product knowledge for your current job that you're in, then you will know that it is quite an intense training for 2 weeks. I know I cried to my mom for like the last week or so because it was just getting too much, but I managed to get through it, and everybody will get through it as well. So product knowledge, being able to apply whatever products they are, and it's just knowledge after knowledge after knowledge after knowledge. So gather as much, because whatever happens in training might exactly happen on your shift. Other little nip and tricks as well is that once you get on board, you're going to be taught how to do consultation. So get your voice, get that confidence, try and get out of your comfort zone now. So practice how to greet, practice how to smile and talk at the same time, eye contact, and that's just something that you're also going to be expected to perform when you're at training. So training is going to be the out of comfort zone, so out of your box. So get out of that shell where if you're a more, reserved person, get out of that, start to be bubbly, start to smile and talk at the same time. Don't know if that makes sense, but you know what I mean. So that's just something else that you guys can keep in mind, is that practical voice communication seminars is what's going to be expected of you once you start your career and your life on board cruise ships. So just to end off this quick intro for the training part before we get on to the part 2 of it and more extent and how I experienced it, is just really gathering up as much as you possibly can before you go into your training. So for the next part, we're going to be focusing on the medical, the visa, STCW, Siemens book, as well as any other things before you go onto your training, because that's going to be needed like nobody's business. So that's always going to be something. The cost around it, especially for South Africans and Africans, with that as well. So we're going to be doing that too.